And we are on the air. I This show is so special to me. It's part of my Norwegian heritage, and I have a wonderful guest and fast friend, Linda Benjaminson Nas, and she is going to be talking about all kinds of things that are paranormal or otherworldly from Norway. And of course, we have Michelle as our other commentator. Hi, Michelle. And
Hi.
we have my partner in crime, Debbie. And we are going to start the show with uh, Linda taking over and starting with one of her stories. Welcome, Linda.
Thank you so much. So nice to be here with you all. Um, I was thinking I would start a little story from my hometown, which is Trondheim. It's the third largest city in Norway. And in Trondheim, we have this big cathedral, Nidarosdomen, for those of you who know. And it's rumored to be haunted. And the ghost that haunts this cathedral is one of the most famous ghosts of Norway. And he goes, it's a monk, so we just call him the monk.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sorry, this is a story that we have been told since we were children in Trondheim about this monk that haunts Nidarosdomen. I have never personally seen him, but I will gladly tell you the story about the first time he was seen by somebody.
Oh,
And it's not that long ago. The Nidaros Cathedral was built between 1070 and 1300s sometime,
Mm-hmm.
or during that time. But he was first spotted a cold January evening in an evening mass, and it was the bishop's wife, Marie Gleditsch, who actually saw him for the first time in Nidarosdomen. And she was sitting there listening to her husband talking to all the viewers there, and then suddenly she saw this apparition with the monk cape and everything, and he was standing like in this big dome that is in this cathedral. And she was of course scared and frightened because monks are not associated with this cathedral at all, so this was not something you could expect to see even.
Right.
And she described him as beautiful. He had really sharp features, facial features, and these bright eyes. And while she was sitting there watching him, he passed through another person who was there, and he went up to the priest who was standing on the altar speaking. And then she sees him like put his hands on his neck, on the bishop's neck, and she couldn't quite believe what she was seeing. And he was like looking down, but when he lifted the head, they could see this red stripe of blood on his neck.
oh,
And this is not an evil ghost. This is not a scary ghost. But the priest or the bishop has said that at the moment when she saw the monk put his hands on that bishop's neck, he felt like he was choking on his words.
oh,
And he was quite sad and choking on his words. And it's also like this, of course, is the first sighting, and there has been reported several sightings through the years, and there has been done some attempts on trying to check out what this is by ghost
Very,
hunters.
yeah.
Mhm. And and now the church has just said that no, there will be no more checking. There will be nothing more. And it's also reported that late at night, and this has actually also happened to a person that who was one that plays the organ in the church.
Mm-hmm.
He heard suddenly, he was sitting and he was playing, because the organ is on the second floor basically.
Yeah.
And he was sitting and he was playing, and then suddenly in one of the pauses he heard somebody like doing the medieval monk chanting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And
Oh,
he got really scared because he was like, oh my God, this has to be a ghost, because there was
Mhm.
nobody else there, only him. So he just ran out of the church. But this is something that several people has reported also, that they hear singing
Mhm.
and organ playing in the church at nighttime.
Wow.
So this is, like I said, the most famous ghost in Norway, basically.
Mhm.
But quite recent, this happened in 1924, where the first time they ever saw the monk was in 1924. And also, like I said, there are no monks associated with this church because there was no monastery
yeah.
in, closeness to this church.
Mhm.
But the legend says, and there was a monastery on a small island outside of Trondheim city in the fjord, which is called Munkholmen. You can Google it. And there it used to be a monastery. And also, rumor has it that there are tunnels going under the city to this island,
Mhm.
Oh,
from the church to the island. So maybe he
Mhm.
came through those tunnels. Who
Yeah.
knows? So
now,
this is mm,
okay.
so this is one of the stories that I have.
I do have a question. Is
Yeah,
the is the church, is it Protestant or is it Catholic? I'm
it's
assuming.
Lutheran,
I was
so
assuming.
I would
Right.
basically say it's Protestant
Yeah.
then, probably. Yeah.
That's what I thought. That's why I figured there was no monks associated. But
Mm.
that's interesting to know that there was a monastery so close. Maybe the
Right.
Lutherans took over. Maybe it originally could have originally started as something where the monks would have had it, and then the Lutherans
No,
took over.
there
No?
has never ever been any kind of monks
Oh
associated with
wow!
this place.
Then
Mhm.
that's even.
The church is actually built on older church from the late Viking age.
Oh,
And also, and this is kind of the strange, because I think it was a Catholic church in the beginning, because we have a patron saint called Sant Olav, Olav den Hellige, Olaf the Holy,
right. Yeah.
and he is a saint. So there has to, and Lutherans don't have saints.
Mhm.
Only
No,
the
we don't.
Catholic Church does.
Yeah.
Right.
So it has had it, and it's also, of course, he is also buried on in this church somewhere. Nobody knows exactly where, but somewhere.
Wow.
So it's like I say, there are some strange connections. Maybe at one point in time, the monastery in Munkholmen and this church had some kind of connection. It's
Yeah.
possible,
It's fun.
but
Yeah.
those who are experts on this says that there has never been a connection. But
Hmm.
these
That
were
was
years before.
that is so interesting.
Yeah.
I love that. And there's a lot of churches that end up, no matter what denomination they are, end up with some kind of spirit
Hmm.
there. So this is
This is a church that has been here for many hundred years,
weird. Yeah.
so of course, it's also surrounded by a very old graveyard.
Oh,
So that there are some activity there, I'm not surprised. If it's a monk, I don't know. I have been to this cathedral several times, and I'm not. I don't see ghosts, but I'm very like sensitive to energies in houses, in buildings,
Mhm.
and I every time I walk into that church, get this creeped out feeling that somebody is watching me.
Yeah.
Not so strange, of course, because a lot of people have lived and died during the building, and many fires that has been there and everything, so but this is like, I feel a very kind of not dark but heavy
Hmm.
energy in this church.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. I really
something
don't know.
something sad might have happened there, or something that is just that energy, that sad heaviness, that energy is just lingering.
Right.
Probably.
Yeah.
Linda, the people who have come to the cathedral to do an investigation, did they come up with any information? Were they able to obtain any information?
They they didn't get any information, and they were banned from the church pretty fast. So they don't want that type of activity in the church.
To disrupt anything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was that one is amazing.
Yeah.
I can't wait for your next
Very
one.
interesting.
That's
Now
even better.
that's on my Norwegian bucket list, and you're going with me.
That's great. I can come with you. I can be your guide.
Yay.
That's quite all right. The second story that I have is from a different part of the country. It's from Buskerud, which is a county a little bit south of Oslo, which is the capital of Norway. And in Buskerud, in Modum in Buskerud, there is something called Blåfarveverket, which basically it means a blue color making, because that was what they did. And there were mines there where they mine cobalt. Do you know? Yeah, the
Yes.
blue
Yes.
cobalt. Yeah,
My favorite color.
yeah,
I
and
love that
glass
color too.
blowers from this they had a factory that eventually made this blue color glass, which they are quite famous for, actually. But of course, this was in they found the cobalt in 1772, and they started mining in 1783. And mines were not safe in those days.
No.
Definitely not. They had mines underground, and then they had also above ground, so daybreaks basically.
Yeah.
Hmm.
um, and they also have this ghost there, who is called Blåman, the blue man.
And yeah.
Yeah. uh, they say that this man is named Hans Simen Paulsen Røtter, and he died in 1867. And now listen carefully. If you discover the same thing as I did, he is also known as Hans med knappene, or Hans with the buttons, because he wore a uniform that had this row of buttons down in the front. And he also carries this light torch thingy that they had with them in the mines in these
The
days.
lanterns.
The kerosene lamps?
Yeah,
Hmm.
basically. Thank you. um, and they say that he appears when to forewarn about accidents. Yeah.
Oh.
And um, he shows himself, so the workers who work in the mines were warned and could get out. And there was this day, it was actually the 13th of December in 1854, that there was quite a big accident. It was the biggest one in these mines, actually. And the blue man showed himself 3 times for the workers who were working in this spot that got basically wiped away. It was above ground, and there was this mountainside that slid out and buried basically 7 people. 6 of them died. One got away with a shattered foot, and one was totally without a scratch. But the blue man had showed himself 3 times for them before this accident happened. And when they finally figured out that this was quite a fierce warning, it was too late.
Oh, wow.
And if you listened to my story, this blue man, Hans Simon Paulsen Røtter, died in 1867. This accident happened in 1854.
I caught that.
Yeah, exactly. So that means that the one they say is this ghost actually was still alive and living very happily when this accident happened.
Ooh.
So basically, in my head, that means that the blue man has to be something or somebody else.
Yeah.
Some say he is actually blue. And I know there are tales going, because it's like cobalt is also kind of a troll that comes from the mountains where they mine cobalt.
Yeah.
So some say that it's a cobalt. And some just say that this is another type of being, but they can't explain what. But of course, this is old history. I don't think anyone has, or maybe I think somebody has seen him in recent days. Of course, I know there has also been like investigations in this spot, or in Blåfarveverket, which is now a museum, and you can go into the mines and everything and see for yourself how it was. And but of course, old story, but still it's like a strange one, since the one they think is the ghost is basically
Was
not,
still alive. Yeah.
can't be.
Yeah.
So it has to be something or somebody else, probably. So yeah, that's kind of also interesting story. In Norway, we have several places that is very haunted, and this is one of them. There are also other ghosts in this place. So yeah,
That's interesting. And
Very.
thinking about the mines, well, let's face it, the United States has had some mine collapses
yeah.
in recent years. So we know, mine accidents here. They're just very dangerous. My mom's whole side of her family we're all coal miners up in the Appalachians in Virginia. Yeah, it's very dangerous, very hard work. But cobalt, gosh, mining for cobalt, I think might actually, I don't know if that would be worse than the coal dust or not.
I really don't know. It's a mineral, so it doesn't like make the same types of dust as the coal, So probably maybe better. I'm not sure, but in those days, anyway, in the old times, all types of mining were risky, no matter what. So
True.
it's you have a history of it in the United States. We have a lot of history of mining here in Norway as well.
Yes.
So I think basically everybody knows somebody who has been affected by a loss that happened in the mine somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course.
Yeah,
This is interesting because it's actually the ghost or apparitions actually warning them
yeah,
of coming
yeah.
accidents. That's
It's I read this story, and it was like he comes as a warning, but also he spreads fear because somebody dies after he has appeared usually.
oh wow,
Yeah. So on this day, also I read this other story. It was said that the workers who were injured and affected, killed by this landslide, had a string of bad omens happening to them the same day as well. One of them was followed by a fox. And when he came to the mining field he was working in, that fox just suddenly disappeared. One was sleeping in this barracks for travel those who traveled to the mines
right.
to live in, and the crows were pecking on the window on it,
Mhm.
which is also, of course, a bad omen in those days.
Gross.
And the third one, he kind of he was the first one, I think, who saw Blåman actually. So yeah, it's
Oh,
it it was not a very good day to mine on, I think, this
uh,
day.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
That one is very. I love that. That one is
Very
very
interesting.
very interesting. The yeah.
it is a lot of history, of course, connected with this. So it's for both uh, people interested in the paranormal and history buffs, basically.
Oh yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I have had myself quite a history lesson as well.
I love it. But yeah,
That's great.
I'm looking forward to hearing some more. Now, my family, I doubt if you, I don't know if there's anything. Most of them came from. I'm going to try and pronounce this right. Valdres Valley. Val,
Valdres, yeah. Mm.
yeah. Most of my family. There's actually still a farm with a little house way up on a mountain. That's still called the Gubrud Farm, spelled
Oh,
differently, but
really?
yeah, the house is still standing. And
That's wonderful.
yeah,
Then you can come and see your roots.
that's what I want to do. I
Yeah.
want to. My dad's cousin, which he'd be my cousin too. He made a pilgrimage there, and he walked the half mile up this steep incline because you couldn't get a car up there.
No.
And he went to the house and everything. So, but I don't know if there's any ghosts around. I'd be interested to find out if there's any in that area.
Oh, I would think that you could basically find a ghost or a nisse
Yeah.
or a troll in each and every crook on every little mountaintop and everywhere in Norway. It's an old country. It's lots of history here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
heard I heard the troll stories from my grandmother that were passed down. You know, because my grandfather was only technically second generation because his father was um, I think they were like she was pregnant when they came over or had just had him. So there's I mean my Norwegian heritage really is not that far removed. We've only been here since 1854, which is would be me three generations, 3 or 4
Mm.
generations. So, but I heard all about trolls. As a matter of fact, my mother started collecting them.
Yeah, that's quite common, I think, to collect this nice little trolls.
Yeah,
So we are in my family. We are more into collecting and nisse.
I
Like
that's something I want too. But you cannot unless I go online. You can't really the Nisa. I don't find them everywhere unless I go to like a Nordic fest or something.
okay, yeah, I see, of course. But here, there, it's like every each and every Christmas. My husband is kind of big on Christmas, so he buys at least one each year. and a different one than he had from before. So it's like he has full control of the buying of Nisse. We
I'll be,
don't collect trolls.
yeah, I'll bring an extra suitcase so I can bring some back for my grandkids.
Yeah, there are some stores that actually sell those around year around. So it's like, yeah, it's a possibility.
Oh, wonderful. Now, I know you have another story coming up.
Yes, I do. And this one is kind of creepy.
Oh, my favorite.
This one is actually from Akershus, where there is a fortress, Akershus Festning, or the fortress of Akershus. This also used to be a castle, and it's now actually housing parts of the Norwegian government as well.
Oh, wow.
And this is one of the most haunted places in Norway. And this castle fortress was built like 700 years ago, so that it's seen a lot of death, blood, wars, and everything you can imagine. But when they were building it, it was kind of a custom to um, they built a living dog into the wall, and that was customary, yeah, because it brought good luck.
Oh,
I'm very happy we have moved on from that kind of custom. Uh, and this dog is haunting the grounds. They call it the Malikanis, which means evil dog. And this dog has actually killed people, they say. Um, and the first victim of this Malkanis was the commander of the fortress. And one day when they were like, being there, they heard like noises coming from the basement of this fortress. And nobody really had the guts to go down there to check what this was. And of course, as a commander, you have to take the responsibility. So he went down there, and he ended up in a bloody fight with this ghost dog.
oh,
And in the end, he didn't kill him. He survived. This commander, his name was Peder Hansson Litle. But he had to like throw a torch on him to get away from this ghost dog. So he survived that fight, but a month later he was thrown by his horse, and he died.
Oh.
And the legend says that people who meet the Malkanis will suffer a horrible death.
oh.
And this ghost dog, there is quite a few people who have seen it, and it's also been recorded on film. But since the Norwegian government are using parts of this fortress as their buildings now after what happened with the governmental building in Oslo.
Yes.
They won't release this, but there are people who have seen in just a short times ago have seen the footage of this dog, this ghost dog. There is also a guide, or maybe all the guides who goes on tours in this fortress with tourists, have a picture on their phone of this dog, and they say it's an amazing picture. I've never been there, I've never seen it, but I really got excited about it when I heard this, because I would actually like to see it.
Yeah.
And And she also said that this tour guide also said that the Malcanis looks better now than it has done in a very, very long time. And the reporter who was talking with her was like, better? What do you mean? Yeah, it looks much better and much healthier.
Mhm.
And I was like, what? How can a ghost dog look better and healthier? I
Yeah.
don't know, but that's what she said.
Because of all the people it has killed.
Maybe. I hope not. I don't know how many it has killed in total. I found the story only about one, but maybe.
Hmm.
Gosh, yeah.
Fascinating.
That's kind of spooky. You know, I've heard about these like devil animals, and it may be that the dog was walled up in the fortress. That the dog was so, you know, their death was so horrific that they're coming for revenge.
Yeah, of
Mhm.
course.
Absolutely.
I absolutely think so that they will come for revenge when they are um, basically killed, because that is what happens. And to be walled in, I don't really think anybody would enjoy that. So
Yeah.
it's that's quite a gruesome thing.
Yeah.
Linda, what was the purpose of them doing that?
Oh, it was a custom back then. They actually did that quite a lot. They walled in living animals because
Mhm.
they thought it would bring good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I've
That's
heard of that.
karma back to bite you, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they thought it would bring good luck.
Mm.
Yeah. See, this is a story that my grandmother would have said "ufamig"
Yeah.
instead of "ufa," because this one is that's such a horrific thing to do.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. So, but the view of animals was quite different back then. So, it was only use, no cuddle play and everything. I can't
Yeah.
even imagine doing something like that to my beautiful little dog. It's no,
Yeah.
no.
That's
It's horrible, but times have thankfully changed.
yeah.
Yes.
So, is the government going to stay permanently in the fortress, or you think they're going to move back to their offices in Oslo?
I don't know. I think I really don't know. I think they use Akershusfesting for like meetings and I know that Erna Solberg, the former prime minister, had some office there or something. I don't know if our uh, recent prime minister has his office there, but I think I think they use it like um, permanently. Actually, yeah,
Yeah. It's that was very scary,
yeah.
and I think that the fortress is probably the better place for them to be, considering how much access was available
Mm.
to I don't even want to say that person, the evil person. Yeah. It was
Yeah,
horrendous. My heart went out to my home country. It really did. It went,
yeah. I think we all were shocked that this could happen in peaceful little Norway.
yes.
That yeah, it was unimaginable for everybody. I think
Yeah.
it's a very very black part of our history.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I get goosebumps even just talking about it. So it's
Yeah.
it's like I said, the dead are dead and ghosts are ghosts, but the living,
The
or
living are who you have to worry about.
yeah,
Honest.
exactly. So there are monsters out there,
Yeah. Well,
living
this was
Sure.
monsters,
Yeah. Well, this one was
definitely.
a really gruesome story.
I had to bring a little bit of
Love it.
evilness and the macabre into it.
Uh,
So
I I love it.
yeah. I
Last,
actually like that story very much as well. So I don't necessarily like um, the evil and the scary and all those dark entities that is basically everywhere. But it's like this one, yeah, it was quite good.
Yeah.
hi, Kate.
Hi,
Uh,
Kate.
last night, I actually talked about the 13th uninvited guest, Loki, as part of the reason that 13 is supposed to be an unlucky number because of, everything that happened with the Norse gods. Because that's always been something steeped in my history, too, my love of the Norse gods and everything. So this is exciting to hear tales that I've never heard before. Did you have another eerie one for us?
I haven't prepared anything else, but I can. There is this hotel in I don't quite remember where, but it's called the Union Hotel. And in this hotel, there is a haunted room, and it's haunted by a girl. I think her name is Linda, actually.
Oh,
And this is a tale of of love. It was this servant girl who fell in love with, I think he was with the Swedish king or something in the Swedish monarchy. And of course, he couldn't have a servant as a wife. So he made her pregnant and then he left and she killed herself. And she's haunting this room. And there are lots of people who have seen her. So this is the Union Hotel in. I can just check it real fast.
yeah. I think that energy when someone
In
dies,
Geiranger, it is.
yeah, the devastation. It just now. Where was it?
Geiranger. It's
Oh,
a small city, a little bit farther south from where I'm living here in Molde now. It's a very popular place for all tourists to go. So, but this is a story that is just. This is also a well-known story here in Norway about the Union. It's called not Union here, but Union Hotel in Geiranger. So this is quite also a story, and we have several of those. Like, the servant girl falls in love with a nobleman, and he makes her pregnant, and then he leaves, and she kills herself.
yeah.
So these are stories that is well known here.
Well,
I
Uh,
think I think in the United States we have a ghost for every hotel motel.
yeah,
I mean, we do.
And we
I think
do.
so too. I've seen quite a few ghost hunting shows from United States, and it seems like that. Yeah,
It,
yeah.
yeah, very, very popular. And so I think we have forever stories for this program on Saturdays, and for sure. But
Yeah.
what's really interesting is when we our personal stories, and I've seen the hag, and I've saw a ghost at the side of my bed, and different things like that. So it's always interesting to me because I've actually seen these things,
Mhm.
and scary. The hag was scary, pretty much looking like what you think the Wicked Witch would look like. But I remember.
but that the hag, that is quite a known story from United States, right?
Well, we say there's hat men and there's hags.
Hmm.
And so, yes, I saw her form at the foot of my bed, but she was a little tricky because she tried to look friendly, but
Mhm.
my gut goes and then I go, is this friendly? And then no. No, she formed, and I was like, oh, shoot. And so I said, I'm going to crawl down there and put my hand through her. Because that's me. I'm a paranormal investigator. I'm
Mm.
going to go after it. So
Yeah.
I got up on my arm to crawl down there, and I went, oh, shoot, because I couldn't move. And I said, I was so mad. I was like, what the heck? I can't move. And she was like very smoky. And I said, well, what do I do now? And I go, maybe if I can say something, because to, make her go away, banish her. So at the side of my mouth, I go, wow. That's all I could do was do a wow.
Mm.
And she went away, and then I was released. But that was the weirdest thing ever. I have things that float and fly and move in my house, and there's you know, no explanation, but it has to be something moving this stuff, something waving the box or floating the remote across the room, or whatever they are doing at the time. And so she looked really scary. But
Mm.
I had one that I rolled over in bed, and I wasn't asleep yet, and there was a woman like this, a beautiful
Oh my
woman,
God.
just on the side of
No.
the bed looking at me, about
Oh my
this
God.
far. She, you could see her. She was really pretty, but I swear she was probably Scandinavian. She looked like that with the dress and stuff. And she was just like right face to face. I'm like, hi, okay, I got to go to sleep. So that was fun.
But
And
actually,
I
it's
just went
funny
to
you
sleep.
say that you have things that move and float around in your house, because in our previous house, we rented a house for a while, and it's like I said in the beginning, I pick up on energies in houses, and this house, from the first day I walked into this house, it felt home. That that very nice feeling. But the strange thing is, it's changed. The energy in the house changed, and light bulbs started going off. We changed at least 3 light bulbs a week in this house, and there was no explanation on the electricity, or so nobody could explain why. And we had this couch, and between the couches there was this little corner, this free space between two couches. And when I was sitting in the couch, if I had my feet up, I would sit with my back to this corner, and it was always freezing cold,
Yeah.
freezing cold. Just this corner,
Mhm.
and it
Just
was
this
actually.
portal.
Thank you very much. I'm so glad we moved. And no, but that corner was freezing cold, and it was like the first night we moved, or the first night we were actually sleeping in this house, because we had moved all day. The kids were like destroyed, so they were sleeping in our bed. And I was sitting downstairs, and suddenly I hear this big boom from upstairs, like a kid had fallen out of bed. So
Mhm.
I was sitting there waiting for somebody to start yelling and crying, and nothing. So I went upstairs, and they were sleeping like angels. No
Whoa.
explanation, can't explain it.
Yeah. We
And
have that
then,
story all the time, like a
yeah,
big box of books, and they let it go and it goes bam.
yeah,
And my husband and I just go, we know there's nothing up there. There's
exactly.
nothing. We're done. We're over it,
Mhm.
from
Yeah,
chasing all that stuff. But
exactly.
let me tell you about the lights. Now, there's two different things on that. I find when lights are manipulated, it's by a person.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And of course, they can blink and communicate with us. But a lot of times, when you bust one out or whatever, it can be energy from kids, teenagers, or someone who just got a big bump up in
Yeah,
energy.
Mhm.
like type of poltergeist activity, right?
Yeah.
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 Actually, like also things went missing and then they came back
Yep.
in places where we definitely hadn't put them, and that
Yep.
was also a thing. But I had this friend who came visiting us, and the first time she was there, she said, "You know what? there is this guy here, she said, but he's not evil or dangerous or anything. And I think actually it's your husband's father, because my husband's biological father died when he was 3 years old. And I think it's his father, she said. And he is here because my husband works at sea, so he's away 5, 6, 7 weeks at a time.
Mhm.
And she said, and he is here and he's watching out for you and
Yeah.
the kids. And he usually stands behind you, she said,
Oh,
in this little corner that was freezing cold.
Yeah.
And he also walks, because there was this door out to a small veranda. And he walks from that door and into the kitchen, and he smokes in the kitchen. He sits in the kitchen and he smokes. And I
You
was like,
smell the
oh, so
cigarettes?
that's why we smell cigarettes sometimes.
Oh,
oh,
yes.
Inside. So actually, that was quite a relief. And I don't think. But she also said that because a friend of mine committed suicide quite a few years back, and she said she's also here, and she's
Oh,
wondering why you are thinking about her. And I'm guessing that would be the disturbance
Mhm.
because of just the desperation of committing suicide, you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
So that is my guess.
She needs to be crossed over to the other side if that's
Yeah.
possible, and
Mhm.
Yeah.
then get some peace over there. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Wow.
Kara's lived in a lot of haunted houses.
uh, Linda, every single house that I have ever lived in has been haunted, and it's been haunted with either good spirits or something that I felt was completely evil.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I have been. The house I live in now, I feel a bunch of spirits around. But I mean, my mom. Every time you take a picture, there's orbs surrounding
Oh,
her,
yeah.
Mhm.
and someone had told us, well, her father
Mm.
is standing there, and now my dad is standing there, and my brother. So my mom is like surrounded by her little bubble of family.
Family.
And but you can sense it, and my mother has, uh I'm trying to think of how long ago it was. She thought she heard her name being called, and I'm wondering if it was my grandfather calling her name. I just, I never really gave it a second thought until we started talking about this.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah. No, it's we used to live in an apartment. Uh, we moved there right after I got my first boy, and uh, sometimes he was like 2 years old, something like that, and he used to stand in his bed and point to the corner and say, "Man, man, man."
Oh, wow.
So he wasn't scared. He didn't cry. He was just letting us know that he could see something. Kids, they are so receptive. So it's like
Yes.
they see everything.
oh yeah,
I was clearing a house in another town, and we were called in because their 2-year-old would be talking to the wall
Mm.
and everything. So we went in and we actually, sensed like an opening, a portal. And one of the people had a Persian spice, so we lit it. It's wild rose seed to make sure that we clear everything and fix that.
Mm.
And we suggested, kind of move the crib away. So, but that and the animals are staring. That's what gets me. That's what you see the most is, the dog's barking or growling at something not there, and the cats love staring up at the
Mm.
wall.
I actually have
You can see.
have quite a story about that.
oh yes.
When I grew up, I was like 14 years old. No, actually, yeah, around 13 maybe. It was my childhood home. And we had this big giant schnauzer. It's over 50 kilos of dog,
Oh yeah.
guard dog. And in he when him and me was home alone, he usually stood in front of the door to our basement, and he was growling like crazy.
Oh.
And I've never felt so much unease for entering or something as I did for that basement. So I never saw anything, never experienced anything, but my dog told me that there is something here.
Yeah.
And also that feeling you have, I went down the basement stairs, and then I stood and collected myself to run to the washing room that we had down in that basement, because that space between,
Mhm.
it was horrible. So that was, but actually that dog, he knew that there was something there that was
Absolutely.
not good.
Linda, I'd like to ask you, do you know anything about this legend of a telephone that rings at the same time every night in
I've heard the story,
Norway?
yeah.
You know that one?
Yeah, I've heard the story, yes. I've actually, they also investigated it in this Åndenes Makt, it's called, where they have psychic mediums going in to investigate different types of ghost stories. I think that is Bærums Verk. And it's many of those who work there have reported that there is a phone ringing at the exact same time every night. And that there are several other things, like switchboards are going like haywire, it's like, yeah. So it's there is quite, also this place is a very known place in Norway for being haunted. There is a lot of things going on. And this Åndenes Makt, I don't remember because it's many years since I saw that show, but I think they found something. I think this was this Swedish medium who was there to investigate, and she's great.
Yeah.
And I think she found. I wonder if there is some kind of caretaker or something who he doesn't like what is going on there or something like that, so he just creates havoc, basically. I also think she tried to cross him over, but I'm not sure if she was successful.
There's a
So,
lot
yeah,
of
I've heard
ghosts
the
that
story.
don't want to, they don't want to go. They're perfectly happy
Yeah.
haunting the cemetery.
Yeah.
So it sounds like Norway is into ghosts and ghost hunting and all that, though. I love that.
Yeah, there are some ghost hunting clubs. I was actually sitting and watching these 3 girls who were in Falstad forest. It's Falstad used to be a prison camp during the war, and there are mass graves in the forest that is surrounding it. It wasn't Jews, but it was Yugoslavic people, Ukrainians, Polish, prisoners of war, basically. Also, a lot of Norwegians. One in my family actually died there.
I'm so sorry.
But there are several places where they have found mass graves, and these girls were walking around in this forest, just trying to see if they could make contact with something. I don't really think they made contact with anything, but they felt like they heard a lot of noises in the forest at night. Very strange.
Oh my goodness. Ghost hunting, I happen to have about 600 people in Southern California in my group. So if you guys ever want to know what I'm doing, it's on Psychic Fixes on Meetup. So we are about to get some good news up here.
Yeah.
We're almost finished, so we've got to share some stuff. First of all, let me bring up this one thing here. And Cara, you want to tell everybody about your book?
This is my first book, my baby, if you will. It is The Shadows of Satan: Terror in the Mountains. It is about a woman who is stranded at her very large, opulent cabin in the mountains of Colorado during a storm. And when the power goes out, things in the shadows start coming out too. So we don't know what is real and what is imagined or what is lurking in the shadows. So I'm looking forward to everyone being able to buy it on Amazon. It can do Kindle, paperback, and hardcover. And it's an easy read, and it will keep you on the seat of your pants with a twist ending.
Oh, congratulations, Cara. That's
That's great.
fantastic.
Thank you.
We have, Cara and I have some news. And soon this week, we have something that I'm going to show you guys right now. So we are announcing in public for the first time that we have a book out that's coming out. You'll be able to buy it on Amazon, and we're going to advertise that. But Cara and I got together. It was a, a very strange uh, happenstance that we found each other. And I had an idea. Cara's the most fantastic writer. We got together, and this is the first in a series. It's Deborah O'Hara, but it's the heroine. But it's the past lives of Deborah O'Hara. This one is called Portals Through Time. And Cara, do you have a couple words about it?
This book was so amazing to write with you. I love this book. It's my second new baby, but it goes back through time for her to fix karma and help people. And there's some comedy in it. There is a lot of magic. It's got some spiritual, spooky seances and things. And it's overall just an amazing segue to our series. It is the perfect first book in our series.
Yes, and we have a lot of storyboards, a lot of books coming out, and I'm sorry that the graphic was a little bit too big. I just cut everything out on the top, and Kara's name is on the bottom there.
I
But
swear.
it is going to be a really fun read. It's got historically correct information based on true events, and that's what I love. So when you guys see some readings and some seances, they're based on true events. So anyway, we will announce when that comes out, or probably early in the week. And that was really exciting. So Cara, I'll throw it back to you.
Well, I want to say, let me see if I say it right, Tusentak to Linda for joining us. And everyone, that means thank you so much. I have enjoyed it. Gosh, I would love to have you back sometime with some more stories, especially on trolls and things. When we get into the mythology of
We can talk about the trolls and Huldra and Nøkken, and yes,
All
of
right,
course, it's a
yes.
lot of folklore.
I
Yes.
love the folklore of Norway, and I love learning more and more about it. I'm shorter
Definitely.
because my granddaughter decided to put the chair down, so I have become very short. She's
No,
falling.
I would definitely love to come back on your show, and we can talk a little bit more about the things going on in Norway. And definitely, and thank you so much for having me. It was a blast.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you so
staying
much.
up
This
so
was
early.
wonderful.
it's quite okay. I'm a night owl.
Oh, good.
I also want to say happy early birthday to you. I know this is your birthday weekend coming up.
Yeah, it's
Happy
my
Happy
birthday on Monday.
birthday.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, good. Happy
Mm,
birthday.
thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much, Linda. It's been just so neat and so fun. And I feel really good when I'm hearing people, everywhere having the same experiences that we have here.
I
Definitely.
think ghosts are pretty similar,
Hmm.
different
For
but
sure.
similar.
Hmm.
Experiences are similar, I think.
Well, I think it's time for us to say goodbye, Cara. But
Okay, keep
Linda, stay on. We're
Yeah,
going to say goodbye to the viewers.
that's okay.
it,
I will stay.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you,
I gotta
Michelle.
I gotta wave
Thank
from this
you.
one.
Night.